Hi everyone, this is Loveland Johnson. Today we are going to be looking at the law of legacy from the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Before we get started, I want to ask a question. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? The law of legacy states that a leader's lasting value is measured by succession. So, succession is the key responsibility of a leader. What is legacy? Legacy is something that endures after you're gone. It's the impact you leave on people. So it doesn't have to be possessions. It's not about accolades. It's not about a monument. It's about the impact you have left on people. I love this quote. Legacy is not leaving something for people. Legacy is leaving something in people. So, how do you build this legacy? The book sort of talks about writing a life sentence. I believe if you have read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey there talks about begin with the end in mind. I was reading another book where the author says, write your own eulogy. What would you want to be known for? And today, when you think about living with the end in mind, you will take the right actions and you will be known for those things because you're intentional with the life that is given to you. Often we struggle with writing this life sentence because we think we have to get it right. We want this perfect life sentence. We have read about different people's life sentence. It's so perfect and we want it to be perfect. But I would encourage you, it doesn't have to be perfect. Think about the season that you are in. Your life sentence at this season would be something, and over time, as you learn and grow, your life sentence could change. And I actually was encouraged by the book where John talks about in his 20s, his life sentence was being a great pastor. And then he moved on to being a great communicator. And from there, he moved on to be wanting to be known as a great writer. Then he wanted to be a great leader. And in his 60s and 70s, his life statement is to add value to leaders who will multiply value to others. And that's a beautiful statement, but he didn't get there overnight. It took many decades of growth that made him change his life statement. And because he was heading in a with a purposeful direction, he has this perfect life statement. So I would encourage you to write your own life sentence. You could call it a eulogy, you could call it anything you want, but the purpose is what do you want to be known for? And when you know that, you will take the right actions. I really like the quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. It says, life is like a parachute jump. You've got to get it right the first time. When you think about life as something like a parachute jump, it's life or death. You can't take it as a joke. You would be very intentional. You will plan it, you will prepare it, you will have the right people as your crew so that you could do the parachute jump because it's life or death. And when you treat your life thinking of it as a high stakes game, you would live with a higher purpose and you would make a significant difference with your time on earth. So, how do we build this legacy? There are 4 stages of developing leadership legacy. First is know the legacy you want to leave, live the legacy you want to leave, choose who will carry on your legacy, and make sure you transfer the legacy to them. Know the legacy. We sort of talked about this early on. Writing your life sentence would be a great way because when you are aware of it, when you write it, you are clear about what you want to be known for. Someday, people will summarize our life in a single statement. So I would encourage you to pick one that you want to be known for. Another one is living it. It's one thing that I say family is important, but if I don't spend time with my family, it's like my actions should supplement what I say. So knowing alone doesn't help. Living the legacy you want to leave matters. So you need to take action. You need to put time in your calendar and you need to read, know, and build yourself so that you live the legacy you want to leave. The next thing is You have to choose who would carry on your legacy. Often in the corporate world, we spend so much time and energy in building processes, systems, buildings. All these are very important. You need to have the perfect process so that people are not going around in circles. You need to have the right systems. However, there is very little time spent on building people. And this is also equally important. As much as processes and systems will come in handy to help us, you need to build people so when you are gone, they are able to carry on with it and take it to the next level. The book sort of talks about this progression as four stages. One is the achievement stage, where you are achieving things for yourself. The next is the success stage, where your team is achieving it with you, for you. And the third is significant stage. The team is doing all the work, they know what to do, they really don't need your direction, but you're there for them as support. And then comes the legacy stage, where you're gone and the things are thriving and it's going wonderfully well. So you can see the stages. Often we start with the achievement stage, where we are thinking about achieving things for ourselves. Then we work with people and achieve things for ourselves. And that's success. And significance and legacy are next level, where you're building and developing leaders, and then they are running things with you and later without you in terms of legacy. Passing the baton is such an important thing. And often, as leaders, we are responsible for the succession that we leave. And so we need to be intentional in passing the baton the right way. So the exchange zone, like if you think about Olympics, when a relay race is happening, it's not the fastest runners who win the race that day and go on to win the medal. It's the ones who are perfect in the exchange zone. They know how clearly and seamlessly they could pass it on to the next person without even losing even a fraction of a second. In that way, they go on to win it. So it's not just knowing to pass it on, but also learning to pass it on in a perfect way. So the exchange zone is so important to win the race. I love this quote from the book. In the end, our ability as leaders will not be measured by the buildings we built, the institutions we established, or the achievements of our team during our tenure. You and I will be judged by how well the people we invested in carried on after we are gone. And that's the thing about legacy. If you think about a real world example, Mother Teresa, she was this perfect, wonderful human being who invested and poured her life for the people of India. And after she's gone, it's been more than 25 years since she passed away. And if you think about it, the mission is running so perfectly well. And she continues to live in the hearts of people because of her work. And the mission is carried on in a great way. The book of your life. So I would consider you and encourage you to take a book, an empty book, write your name in it, and every page in it is the habits, the efforts, the trials that you go through, the pleasures, the discouragements, the achievements. Write all that and be consistent in building your book, because one day this book will come to an end and it would have the word finish and the story would end. What are people going to say about it? So the book of your life. I have a few slides here. Take an empty book, start writing your story, be intentional. The title page is you, and then the preface, whatever has happened so far, don't worry about it, because even though there could be many things that you had no choice about, from now on you have a choice. Now on you have a way to shape your journey and go into a destination that you want to go. And that's what legacy is. Some of the things that has happened in the past, just leave it behind and move on towards the future. And when you are clear about where you want to go, the journey would become a beautiful, great experience. Every page, be intentional. Today, you're given 24 hours. What are you going to do with your 24 hours? Fill it with intentions, build good habits, break the bad ones, and live a life with great intention. And one thing, if I'm going to tell you all, is consistency. It's not what you do occasionally that would get you results, it's what you do consistently that would get you results. So be consistent in your efforts. If you think a certain thing is important, if you want to know more about leadership and be a great leadership person, keep reading books, be invested, and do it on a consistent basis, because one day you're going to be that leadership person because you have invested your time and energy on it. The word finished is going to be written on each one of our stories. And when someone is going to read it, what are they going to read? Are they going to be happy about the story, the type of legacy that you have left? Or are there things that they don't even want to talk about? So let that story be a meaningful one. When your life is complete, would you even be happy about the way you have lived your life? That's how I would encourage you to ask, what would that be? How would you say that I have lived a wonderful life? And when you are happy, I'm sure that others would feel the same way too. So, how do you apply the law of legacy to your life? Consider what you want your life to stand for. We talked about it. You need to know, because each one of us are gifted with our own skills, abilities, talents, and some of the circumstances where that took us to different paths. And that would be perfect to write our own legacy, because all this will come in play in the journey that we are going to take. And then think about who you want to impact. What are the things that you want to make a difference on, and be invested in it. And more than anything, if there is one thing I would encourage you all to do, is you need to change your behavior, your character, the type of people you hang out with, the habits you have. Only when you change, you can go to that place, because if you are doing the same thing, you may not be able to get great results. You need to be intentional, you need to ask questions, and keep trimming the things that is not needed, so that you are focused in that one direction. And eventually your legacy will be greater, and people will be impacted in a meaningful way. I hope you found this session helpful. Next week, we will be looking at the 16 undeniable laws of communication. I hope you would join me there. Thank you.